2, you're supposed to find the general term Tn for the following sequences. So for the first sequence, you found out that it's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and there are many other numbers, but it's not stated in the question. So now we know that this one is actually, 3 is actually your term 1, 6 is your term 2, 9 is your term 3, 12 is your term 4, and 15 is your term 5. So now we will have to write out and find out what is the general term for this sequence over here. So we found out that T1 is actually equals to 3. Okay, now T2, we have 6. But then we need to find a general term, so we will try to, and we know that 6 is equals to 3 plus 3, so we have 3 plus 3 over here. Okay, now for term 3, it's equals to 9. We keep the first number, which is the green color 3 over here, and ask ourselves what's the difference between 9 and this 3 over here. You have to add additional 3 from the term 2 over here. Okay? Now, term 4 is equals to 12, so what we have to do is to bring down this whole thing to term 4. And add an additional 3 to make up for the term 4 value 12. Similarly for term 5, we copy down this whole thing to term 5. And then ask ourselves what's the difference between these numbers over here and the value of term 5, which is an additional 3. Now, do you see a pattern over here? This green color 3 remains the same, but the black color ones are always increasing. Okay? So we realize that this is actually just the green color 3 here. This term 2 will be 3 plus 1, 3. One black color 3 over here. Now term 3 will be 3 plus 2 3's over here. Similarly for term 4, we have the same thing. We have 3 plus 3 3's. 1, 2, 3. And then for term 5, we have 3 plus 4 3's. Now, so do you see any pattern in whatever that we have stated over here and the term number? We realize that this number is the one that's changing, but how is it related to our term number over here? This number is always 1 less than the term number 2. 1 is always 1 less than 2. Similarly for 2, it's always 1 less than 3. This number over here is actually 1 less than the term number 4. So we have 4, which is 1 less than 5. So now we are going to find the general term Tn. How do we find the general term Tn? We realize that these green color 3's will always remain the same. So we write it down. And then we add this number over here. What is this number that's always changing? This number will always be 1 less than the term number over here. Ask yourself, what is 1 less than n? And then you realize that it is n minus 1. Okay? Now remember your brackets times 3. These 3 will all remain the same throughout the whole sequence. And then throughout the whole pattern, you realize that this is your answer for Tn. 3 plus bracket n minus 1 times 3. So now we write it clearly. We have Tn equals to 3 plus n minus 1 times 3, and then you have to expand this thing out if you want to. Okay, so what do you have? 3 plus 3n minus 3. Okay, now then you will have this equals to 3 plus 3n minus 3, the 3 can cancel out one another, and then you will have Tn is equals to 3n. So this is your general term 3n. Okay? Now for part B, you have the next sequence 3, 5, 7, 9 and 11, and you know that your first term is actually 3, second term is 5, third term is 7, fourth term is 9, and the fifth term is 11 in this sequence in the question. So now we will do the same thing. T1 is equals to 3. Secondly, we have second term, which is 5. So ask yourself, what's the difference between what the top one and 5? You will have the same number 3 here plus 2 to get the term number, the term value 5. Similarly, you copy down this whole thing in term 2 to term 3. You will have 3 plus 2. And then ask yourself, what's the difference between 5 and 7? You have to add an additional 2. Term 4, it will be 3 plus 2, which is actually from the previous term, term 3. Copy down the whole thing to term 4 and add an additional 2 to get the value T4 equals to 9. And for term 5, you have 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 and an additional 2 over here. Okay? Then we realize a pattern. This 3 will always remain the same. And there's one multiple of 2. Similarly, for term 3, you have 3 plus 2 times 2, because there are 2 2's over here in this term. Next, we have 3 plus, how many 2's are there? There are 3 2's over here, so it's 3 times 2. And then we also have the next term, which is the fifth term, 4 times 2. Now, same thing as what we have gone through in part A. What are the numbers that are changing? This one over here. The number of 2's that are appearing in the pattern over here. So now, looking at this number, there's 1, 2 over here, and ask yourself, is there any relationship between the general term, term n here? You realize that this is 1 less than the term number. Similarly, for this is 2, it's always 1 less than the term number 3. As for this number, 3 is 1 less than 4, 4 is 1 less than 5. Now, to find Tn, what will the answer be? This will be equals to 3, which is the same, plus this number that's constantly changing but is 1 less than your term number. So what is 1 less than n? You have n minus 1. Remember your bracket, times 2. Okay, so now we will have Tn equals to this value over here. By rewriting the whole thing, we have Tn equals to 3 plus n minus 1 times 2. Expand out to remove the brackets. And what will you have? 3 plus 2n minus 2. 3 minus 2, you will have 1 plus 2n. So this is your general term Tn.